yesterday. Oh, dropped the shears. Alright, so I'm out here in the greenhouse and I'm working on pulling these Tabasco peppers off of the limbs so that I can get these plants trimmed down and into some pots for overwintering here in the greenhouse. And then in the spring, I'll be able to put the established plants back out and have them immediately start growing and not have to wait weeks for the plants to grow. So, thought I'd just bore y'all for a little while I'm here. Yeah, I've got Jason Crocker down there in the pot of peppers. I'm listening to his Unleashed podcast, picking up pointers. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing on this, but I hope I can do. Anyway, I'll just tell y'all a funny little story. Alright, my husband and I got married. That's Mr. Green Jeans Jr. out there. My husband and I got married in August of 1969, and the following spring, we were in a pet store, and of course, I just had to have an Easter duck. We lived in a 2-bedroom townhouse apartment at the time, but what the heck? Randy bought me a little duckling. So we took him home and put him in a little cardboard box in the extra bedroom. And I put him in the bathtub every 2 or 3 days, and of course scoured the bathtub after the duck had his little swim. But the duck was doing fine. So about 2 weeks after Easter, we happened to go back by that same pet store, and they still had a playpen. And you have to remember, this is in 1969 when there were playpens where they kept chicks and ducklings and even baby rabbits in pet stores during the Easter holidays. So they had this playpen that still had probably 50 or 60 little ducklings in it. And I noticed that in the corner there was 2 or 3 dead little ducklings that had been actually probably smothered by the bigger ones. So I convinced Randy that we needed to get Duck, as we had so named our little duckling that we got before Easter, that we needed to get Duck a friend. So we bought one of the little ducklings out of that playpen and took it home, and of course it was probably only about the third of the size that Duck was by this time, so I called him Pee-wee, he or she, whatever it was. Anyway, so we graduated those 2 little ducks from a cardboard box into our second bedroom. We covered the whole floor with newspapers and got a baby gate and put a baby gate across the door to keep the ducks out from getting out, and we would take them downstairs and out into the backyard apartment complex where we lived every afternoon and let them play. Well, they didn't realize they were ducks, of course, so they just followed us around like they were little puppy dogs or something. So we continued to have our pet ducks in our apartment, and of course they were growing. We got into summertime, and I mean they were getting really big, and I still would put them in the bathtub about, I don't know, maybe once a week, every 4 or 5 days, something like that. Anyway, because Duck was really big and Pee-wee was probably about half the size, Duck would get really excited and swim around and everything. Well, one time, Duck was just doing circles, trying to do circles in the bathtub, and actually kind of ran over Pee-wee and submerged him, and Pee-wee didn't do so well. I was afraid that he had drowned because Duck was stirring up the water so much. So I had to get this little duckling out of the water and like do chest compressions and actually do mouth to bill CPR on this little thing to get it breathing again. Sorry about the rooster crowing. Anyway, after that, we decided it would be best not to put them in the bathtub at the same time. And Duck had gotten to a point where we would take him outside, he or she, there again, I don't know. We take him outside, he started to wander. So we decided that it was going to be best if we release these ducks. Well, we live relatively near Stone Mountain Park in Georgia, because I grew up in Atlanta, and we were living in Dorville, Georgia at the time, and frequented Stone Mountain Park quite often. So one Saturday we put the ducks in a cardboard box, got them in the car, and we drove out to Stone Mountain Park. Well, I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with Stone Mountain Park or not, but there's a grist mill there next to the lake, and there's ducks in the lake. And so I told Randy, I said, well, I think if we just take the ducks out there and turn them loose in the lake, well, they'll just be fine. They'll be real happy. And they'll have a nice water, and there's woodlands all around and other ducks that they can become friends with. And so that's what we did. We took the ducks out to the park. Of course, this was back in the day when you didn't have to pay $35 to get in for a day. It was free. And so we went on in and we went to the grist mill, and we got the ducks out of the cardboard box. And you got to realize now, this is like August, maybe even September, and they were pretty much full grown. And so here we get these two ducks out of the box, out of the car, and we put them under our arm. I had one, I think I had Pee-wee, and Randy had Duck. And we walked down to the edge of the water, and I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be fine. We're going to put them in this water, and they're just going to be happy and just swim off. Well, I put Pee-wee down to the edge of the water. Well, he'd have nothing to do with it. I mean, he came right back up and stood right next to me. And so I told Randy, I said, kind of, give Duck kind of a throw, send him out there in the water. And so Randy was up higher on the bank than I am, because he was like 6'4", and I was like 5'2". And so he was standing up higher, and so he kind of lobbed him out into the water. Well, once you know, the minute that duck hit that water, he turned around and he was right back up there, and right next to me. And so I told Randy, I said, well, I don't know. I said, we're going to have to figure out something to do. So I said, well, let's go on up the hill here, so that we can drop them off, and hopefully they won't see us. And so we walked on up, and a little bit, not we weren't high up at all. And so I just got Pee-wee between my ankles, and just kind of heaved him out into the water. And at the same time, Randy did the Duck. He sent him out into the water. And we both immediately turned around and just booked it back up that hill to the parking lot. Well, I want you to know, we had these two crazy quacking ducks running up that hill after us, followed us all the way to the car, and stood there waiting for us to get them back up in the car and take them home. And people are going, those people are stealing those ducks. I looked at a lady and I said, no ma'am. I said, we're trying to free them. Anyway, we ended up having to take the ducks back to the apartment with us and laugh the whole ride home. It was hilarious. So the next night, we went back out to the park again, and there was a little fishing dock that you could go out on, a little U-shaped dock there down from the grist mill. And so we walked out onto the outer part of the fishing dock, and it was probably about, 11 o'clock at night. It wasn't too late. And So we just very gently and very quietly dropped those ducks over the edge of that fishing dock, and literally got down on our hands and knees and crawled off of that dock so that they could not see us walking away from them. We did wait there for just a few minutes to see if they were going to swim in either direction, and they didn't. And so we went on home and just kind of said our prayers that they would be all right. It wasn't cold weather or anything like that. It wasn't stormy weather, so we left our two babies out there in the lake at Stone Mountain, and we did go back the next. I think it was probably midweek, and just to see if we could see them, and because they were white, solid white Pekin ducks, or whatever they were. Anyway, so we went back, and it was really odd because we didn't think that they would recognize our voice. Really, didn't pay that much attention to the fact that they might recognize our voice. And we saw them when we walked down to the fishing dock. They were like in a little cove, probably about 15, 20 yards away from where we were. And I started talking. I said, it looks like they're doing okay. I said, that's good to know. I feel assured that they're going to be all right now. I don't know if they'll stay here all their life or what, but I said it's better than them being cooped up in an apartment all day. And when I started talking, they started swimming towards us. And they didn't make any kind of effort to get up on the bank or get out of the lake or anything, but they did come right over to the dock and just kind of hung around. We had taken some crackers to throw in for them, to feed the ducks. And so we fed them. And we were there for probably 20 minutes, and they just kind of hung around. And then when we walked off, they swam off. So it was really kind of a neat experience. But it was just really funny that people thought we were trying to steal those ducks, when in essence we were actually trying to give them a new home. So anyway, yeah. All right, whatever. Well, I'm obviously got a lot to do here, so I'm gonna let y'all go do whatever, and I hope y'all have a great evening, and stay warm and stay safe. All right, bye.
2x, 3x, and I believe my